Hi, Eric Linask here at the Rio in Las Vegas. We're at ITEXPO. On the program with me today is Mark Savage from Kika. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Great, thank you.
So, a couple things that we want to touch on about what Kika's been up to. Maybe one question I'd start off with, regarding the business that you're doing with refurbishing some wireless technology.
Sure.
I think the first question that always comes to mind is how big is the market, and where does the technology, where does the hardware come from that you end up refurbishing?
Well, yeah, I mean, the market is pretty large, and obviously we're here at, for the ITEXPO and M10 Evolution because the M10 space is growing. And so because the hardware keeps refreshing, constantly, we've kind of found a niche, and we've been doing it for almost 10 years now, where we go out and we buy all the secondary market hardware. So we're buying all the USB modems, the MiFi hotspots,
right,
modules, all that type of data-only hardware. And so we buy them from companies, back from carrier, customer returns, you name it. We bring it all in and we refurbish it, and then we actually offer that as like a low-cost refurbished product back to the wireless industry. So a lot of times we're working directly back with carrier reps, with MVNOs, with different businesses that are looking for a low-cost hardware solution. So the market it's a pretty sizable market, but the good part about it is it's continually growing. So
it's growing. The other side of it is the devices are always being enhanced and improved. So how do you balance the low cost options that certain vendors and providers are looking for against not having the very latest technology?
Well, that's where it's kind of unique, where we fill a nice gap in the industry, because as technology refreshes, and you'll probably learn from a lot of the interviews you're talking with people here today, that when they're deploying an M10 solution, it usually takes a long time. So, and a lot of times the data usage is very small. So they really only, a lot of times, need 3G data, if even that. They're maybe using 5 megabytes or less per month. So, obviously having access to LTE is great, but sometimes as they make enhancements to the hardware, now all of a sudden what the solution that a customer started to build doesn't work with the new firmware of the new technology. And so a customer starts deploying, they get their beta test out there in the field, and they're using it, and now they're ready to really deploy it, full. And the new device that the carriers put out has a software that isn't compatible with the whole solution that they built. And so we'll get a call from a customer and just says, hey, look, I'm looking for this older device. I know it's a couple years old technology, but I have a customer who needs 1,000 pieces, and they need to deploy them. And so that's the market that we serve. So by going out and buying all that used and secondary market hardware, and we stock it. So we keep it for those cases, so that when a customer says, hey, for the Verizon network, I need a USB modem that works on Linux. Well, I know that the 3G Novotel USB 760 works with Linux, and some of the new modems don't support it. So we stock a whole lot of Verizon USB 760s, and we have them for when customers call and they say, we're in a bind here. We need a Linux modem that works Linux. We say, no problem. Like, we've got those. We give them to them low cost.
Where do you get them?
We buy them from everywhere. So everywhere from carrier, customer return auctions. We have agreements with some really large companies that as they same thing, as they technology refresh, we buy all the old technology. There's also like e-waste recyclers and things like that are going out, and their companies don't know what to do with the used electronics.
Right.
And so we partner with a lot of the recyclers and say, hey, look, when you find this stuff, these modems, call us and we'll buy them. And so we're constantly, on one side we're calling and buying all day, and then on the other side we're selling all day.
Got it. Now, what about we're talking about external wireless device, USB or MiFi. What's the interest level in people using embedded devices as opposed to, and does that impact your your business at all?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to go embedded. That's where the industry is going. That's where all the technology is going. And so the challenge that I hear and I see every day talking with customers is the cost of embedded is still a bit expensive. And and I'll just give you let's say an embedded device costs $300-400, and the customer's going to activate it with any of the major carriers here in the U.S., and they're going to use a data plan that's 1 megabyte. That's all they need per unit, per device deployed. So that the monthly revenue on the plan is really small. So it's hard to justify for a carrier to give a customer a low price or free modem, because they're not going to recover that cost for a really long time.
Right.
And even for a customer to pay for that outright is really expensive. So where we fit in is we give them, we can supply, modules as well, but we can also give them sometimes. A lot of the customers that buy, say, a USB modem for us, it's not the ideal solution, but it bridges the gap. For right now, if they can get a USB modem at $30 or $40 as opposed to $300 or $400, hey, that's a solution that everybody likes. The customer can afford it. The carrier is happy because the customer is able to pick up the modems. They get the activations. They're deployed. And that gives them time to start working on maybe a way to make the cost structure fit for embedded going forward.
Got it. Tell me about your relationship with Verizon and Polaris.
Yeah, so like I said, our business has always been hardware, but what's new for us here at M10 Evolution is that we are a new Verizon VPP partner, which means we're working with them on the M10 side, and we've developed our own M10 solution. And so I'll be actually talking with Verizon later today on a case study of how we were able to collaborate and put it all together. But just to be brief, we had a relationship with Polaris locally, and Verizon put me in contact with a local vendor. We're in South Florida, so a local vendor to us who was really good at light on their feet making. They had a tracking device, like a wireless tracking device, and they were able. So talking with them and talking with Polaris, they were interested in having a personal vehicle tracking device, and so really within 2 months' time, which is pretty unheard of in this industry to put the solution together, we've actually been able to bring in Polaris, to bring in the company InventureTrack that we work with, and Verizon for the connectivity, and we've built a personal vehicle tracking device for Polaris has a line of e-bikes. They're electronic bicycles. Right. And so we were able to build the solution into the frame of the bike, and we're going to be able to offer it. And so just for folks who don't know, an e-bike it's a typical bicycle, but it has an electronic engine. And so what happens is as you're pedaling on this bicycle, the electronic motor kicks in and it gives you pedal assistance. So now you're pedaling, and now all of a sudden you have this extra boost. And as you're pedaling, then if you can also use the throttle and you can just cruise. You don't have to pedal; the bike will continue to go. And so we're using that device just to give you a quick idea. So there's some benefits for a user who owns a bike and a dealer. And so right now there's about 110 dealers in the U.S. that sell e-bikes. And those dealers rent the bikes. So we have GPS tracking. So they rent the bikes. And at any point, they can look on their computer and they can see where all the bikes are. And they can also set up, say, what's called geofencing, so a perimeter.
Sure.
So they know that everyone's going to be using these bikes within like a 5-mile radius. Well, if they see a bike that kind of goes rogue and it's going out way off track, they can see, okay, where this bike is, and they, they'll be alerted at least to know that to kind of bring it back. Also, for a dealer, it's important when they sell a bike. Like these e-bikes cost, say, $2,500 to $4,000. So let's say a customer making payments and they stop making payments. Well, at any point, they know right where the bike is, so they can go repo it. And so then, but on the user side, you can utilize the same benefits. You have motion sensors, so if you park your bike somewhere, or you have it, or you're on vacation, if that bike moves or something like that, you can get a text message alert. If your bike were ever to get stolen, you have GPS tracking, so you can go and recover the bike. So that's the new solution we're here launching at the show.
Very cool. Congratulations and
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Mark, thanks for being on the program today.
Great. Thanks very much.